welcome to week 1 of the vlog. Last one I said I was gonna kind of make these, and I kind of just want to hold myself accountable, and I'm gonna start to make vlogs. I know this channel is super confusing sometimes, but because I felt like I was just pigeonholing myself into one thing, and I was doing it for a very long time and it wasn't working out. Thank you for sticking around for this experimental phase. This next week I will be continuing to sprinkle around my thoughts on the book's Palma. Now, I don't think I've actually ever mentioned this on this channel because it's all about tech, or it was, but I'm like pretty athletic. Like I feel like I am above the average when it comes to like just going out there. I do a lot of martial arts. I do a lot of physical activity like running and lifting, but I never really share that. So I want to start sharing that, most importantly. So something that I really want to explore with everybody is reading. My Goodreads account will be down below if you want to follow along. But right now I'm reading Breath by Rickson Gracie. He is a grandmaster and one of the pioneers of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So personally, I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for like a year and 7 months. And I've only ever taken like 2 weeks off max from practice. Personally, I also have never watched a single MMA match or any martial arts for that matter. And that's because I always felt like, what if I'm being too influenced and I try to be too much like them, right? But after hearing him on the JRE, I found that his work was very spiritual and breath work. I'm also a big believer in breath work and meditation. I know this sounds like part of the manosphere, but I promise you it's not. So I decided to read his book. And from the very first, actually, I'm almost done with the book, to be quite honest. It's so useful because I find that so far the book has a lot of wisdom when it comes to the approach of masculinity. What I found most fascinating about Mr. Gracie was his approach to living life like a samurai. And the samurai have a code. Mr. Gracie describes the code of the samurai as righteousness, courage, compassion, respect, honesty, honor, and loyalty. This approach seems way more tangible. The reason I just don't believe in the current leaders of the manosphere is because they're like all dudes like 20 to 35. And I don't know, dude, like at that point, I don't feel like people within that age range have like actual wisdom, right? This guy's like, I want to say he's like over 60, 100%. And that's where I personally find the value. This guy has actually gone through something and has a great understanding of it. But I'll sprinkle along my thoughts as we move through this vlog. This is Saturday, and I'm just trying to work on getting back into physical fitness. I think over the last, like probably 2 months, it really has been a struggle. I mean, there's so many reasons. There's always some bullshit excuse, right? One of the big things I'm also trying to do is carry less gear. Now, when I run, it is unbelievably annoying trying to set up a shot on the phone, right? I just use whatever camera I have. But I recently came across also this right here. It's supposed to be like a tripod case, and I've always been kind of hesitant to buy these things just because I feel like it's an extremely difficult product to make. But this is the Moffat M-F-O-T. I think it's like a little bit more simple. I like the magnets, and it's not just one accessory, but multiple. And that's what really attracted me to it, so I can move it and put it together. This is a pretty nice case. I would probably compare it to like the Apple one, like the official one. The quote unquote, I think it's vegan leather. Definitely feels more premium on the iPhone one, but to the touch, it just feels really, really soft. So this is what the phone looks like. This is just like an automatic selfie stick right here, and it just makes it so much easier. So I'm recording here on the phone, and then we can just turn it around. By the way, this is not a paid advertisement. They do not give me any money for this. I think it looks pretty nice. So I'm gonna test this out also while I run. So let's see how it goes. So I did go out on a run, but not the type of run that you think. I actually went on a run to go get some pizza, and I devoured that thing like there was no tomorrow because I was craving it for like 4 days straight. And then afterwards, I just felt like complete garbage. However, I decided to get myself a little bit of soda, thinking that would ease the pain, and it most certainly did for about 5 seconds. Right now, I'm prepping for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day. I'm gonna try to run 12 miles tomorrow. Yes, I am gonna run a marathon like everybody else and their mom. But I have something that other people don't, which is experience. I've been running since I was, since before I was born, I was running my mouth. I was a professional yapper inside of my mom's womb. So I don't see any difference between running your mouth and running your legs. And therefore, I'm just, absorbing in the calories today. I don't know if that's legitimate. I'm not a food scientist. But I've been craving this fucking black cherry cream soda for like 4 weeks now. And I finally decided to push the trigger. This is the diet of a champion. Outside the shave. I usually shave. I actually do like to shave. I don't know why so many dudes don't like to. I've just never liked facial hair. But the big thing with tomorrow is, let's see if I can keep the stamina. And I think this is a great place to test this little tripod. I think that's something that I really find valuable in Rickson Gracie's book, is his approach towards spirituality. And this quote really sums it up, and a way of thinking that I hadn't before in the past, where he says, however, rationality has its limits. Not everything can be explained on paper. Just look into the sky on a clear night. Where does the universe begin? Where does it end? And are we the only life forms in it? Is there life after death? Simple questions without any answers. And this is not the sort of stuff that I would expect from such a man. But throughout the course of the book, I find that a lot of his life is garnered on the idea of the most difficult battles. And for him, it's going into the ring and doing a vale todo. And I think that's really important. Many of us will never get into the ring, probably 99% of us. What is your first big match on the stage? If you're a photographer, a YouTuber, someone that creates work, what is that moment on the stage? Maybe it's hitting 100,000 subs. Maybe it's getting your work on the Spotify page, and how do we mold ourselves to get to that? All the B-roll you see here was shot with the phone case, and I gotta say, it's pretty nice and stiff, but I'll give all my opinions as I go along. So I think something that's really important that I'm learning while I'm making these things, I've only made 2, but really is, there's this whole talk about story. And it gets really obnoxious if you go on it on YouTube, because last time there was so much rustling in here, so I'm gonna make sure that this is closed, is important, which is like a story this, story that. And if you go to any CEO Tech Bros like interview, which there are many where I live because I live in a dump, they always mention that word, and it gets to the point where words just become meaningless. Especially when you go to like a job interview where they're saying a bunch of I'm deriving from the point, but you don't always have to have a story in mind. Sometimes a story just comes to you, or like as you go backwards, you see the story, right? And I think that's a very important lesson of just letting wow, they keep on making this place extremely complicated. I think that's an important lesson, because if you try to force things, they usually don't come out as naturally as they possibly could. That's where the confidence really comes in, to just kind of shoot and sit down and observe and read and watch all of these things happen. Because I feel like too many of us are trying to be, maybe too many of us that were like a type B or left brain, whatever, have tried to become like a type A, like meticulous, small picture. Not saying that I cannot be that. I'm just saying, like, maybe too many of us have tried to do that, and that's not our personality. So anyways, this is just a stream of consciousness when it comes to that, when it comes to making stuff. Because when I first started making photos, and when it was the most fun, it's like there was no game plan, right? It wasn't until I got to the editing that I really saw things. So that's my new perspective on that. And I just want to say that Ali Abdaal, I wish that I could like lightweight sue you, because he's the number one productivity guy in the world, and he's really popular as that. Just kidding, Ali. I think you're one of the coolest nerds out there. So love you. Bye-bye. Just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. These vlogs will get better. And as always, remember, reality isn't made out of matter, but what matters.